Come and check out the Tactical Insight Show. Graham and I break down Arsenal's 4-1 win against Palace. What kind of things do we cover, Graham?
It's going to be such a good one this week. We go 8 points clear at the top of the table, James. Match stats, closing stats, goal recreations, our normal features all there. But we've added 1 or 2 extras in this week. We're going to look at that Arsenal right-hand side. You're going to talk about that Trossard false 9 performance. And I'm going to actually end the show with a real nice Tottenham stat.
It's a proper good stat. We'll see you in a bit. And don't listen to lead judges if you follow Forever Arsenal podcast. Don't listen to him. It's a great show. Go watch Tactical Insight. And actually, I really enjoyed this one. We did explore a lot of different things, as we always do. But I tell you what, they're more and more fun every week as Arsenal have been winning their games. And we don't do them for the Europa League one, so we don't have to go through that disappointment. How are you, Turkish?
I'm good. You know, there's a lot of people that probably don't watch Forever Arsenal. They're thinking, well, why did he start the show like this?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But you know who you are. It's actually lead judge is the only person I've got beef with here, but that's fine. We just recorded Forever Arsenal. So for everyone wondering when that's coming out, imminently, not imminently, 8 a.m. tomorrow? Something like that? I think it's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning. You will get the podcast. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah,
can't complain.
I know this is unpopular opinion. I am quite happy it's the international break. I think these breaks have come at good times for Arsenal, and look, they're scheduled in. Yeah, they don't just pluck them out and go, let's have an international break next week. But I just think that the momentum and the timings of the season, I think there's something really nice about your last game before the international break being a home one. And then the one you come back to being a home one. No game is easy, yada, yada, yada. We all know that. But I think it's positioned itself quite nicely. The Saliba injury, hopefully something short-term, means he's got the time to recover. And I think when you get to 10 games to go, it doesn't really matter whether those 10 games are spaced across 4 months or 1 month or whatever it is. When you get to that point and it's like 10 to go. I remember that last year, and that was just for the top 4 race. You know, so I think it's come at a nice time just to relax the mind for a little bit. Obviously, they'll still be focused in training and working hard, but you can't match that intensity in games. And I think it's good that they've got just that one weekend off.
I actually agree. I know there's a lot of people that are saying, the international breaks come at the worst time. I actually agree. Regardless of the Saliba injury, which is a heavy part of me, you know, taking this international break as a welcome break because it's more time for him to recover and get back before the Anfield game. I was saying it before the Saliba injury. It's just a good time to, refocus. It's a good time to take a step back, appreciate what you've done, but understand what you've done is not enough yet, and getting the team fully focused back on the task at hand. And the task at hand is literally, a couple handful of games, 10 to go. And when you look throughout the season, we've done well. Anytime there has been a break, we've maintained focus. We've come back strong. We've carried on winning games and carried on dominating games. So it's not like in years gone past where international breaks would either cause an injury to one of our important players and then the rest of the season just unravels or comes in, and off the back of it, we are not as good as we was going into it. I mean, this season, all the breaks that we've had, from international breaks to the World Cup included, we've come straight back and got back to business. And I just think, like I said, appreciate what you've done, because Arsenal have done a lot. The squad, the team, the people behind the scenes, they've done a lot. But just understand, you do have to get it over the line as well. We will all appreciate the progress we've made as Arsenal fans, without a shadow of a doubt. Win or lose the Premier League, we will all appreciate the progress.
Cool.
Now, it's about finalising and sending that message to the rest of the league, saying we are back. And that's getting it over the line now. Arteta's done a great job to lift the bar back up to where it should always be at Arsenal. That's challenging. But if he could lift the bar back up to winning the Premier League, listen, I can't wait for that feeling back again.
The streets right outside the studio, around North London, around the world. But I mean, especially here outside the ground, I mean, honestly, close the roads. It would be something else, wouldn't it? Let's hope we get that day. As you can see, a kind of different title to the normal for 5 p.m. live, because there's been lots of bits of news that I think are just worth touching on. And I get irritated. Look, I thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. I get irritated by these kind of questions. Do other channels report opposition injuries? Why are we so obsessed with City? This is becoming weird. Okay, well, let's break it down. If you find it weird, okay, fair enough, each their own. Why are we obsessed with City? Well, I think obviously we care what our closest rivals and biggest threat to our first league title in 19 years are up to. And then the first bit, do other channels report on opposition injuries? I don't know. I'm not really that bothered. I'm not looking at what other channels do to sort of dictate what we should be doing. I just think this is an interesting topic of conversation. Not because, and I stress this, and the evidence is out there, by the way. I said this on DR Sports when I covered it with Matisse earlier. I don't wish injury on anyone. Mm-hmm. I'm not sitting here going, I really hope no. I don't wish injury on anyone. Genuinely, injuries are painful things. Yeah, they're not nice. We don't want that. But there's obviously a conversation to be had in two different ways. A, the Haaland injury. Will he be back for a really big game against Liverpool? Mm-hmm. We've seen that Liverpool have been able to raise their standard for the tougher games. Okay, lost 5-2 at Anfield, but gave Real Madrid a better game at the Bernabeu, beat City earlier this season, beat Tottenham away from home, just beat Man United 7-0. So will Haaland be fit for that in a crunch part of the title run-in? But add to that, though, when you see Haaland out, I think I read or heard that De Bruyne might not be with Belgium. I'm not 100% sure. Trossard as well. Rashford isn't in the England squad. And look, again, these players are injured. They're injured, fine. But let's not also act like there isn't a more cynical opinion that some people have of these injuries, which is, here we go, international break comes and certain players aren't available. And then it brings the question, should Arsenal maybe be doing a little bit more on that front? So I genuinely present this question with no real opinion. I said on Forever Arsenal, we just recorded, I have no issue with some of our players being away on international duty. Play for your country. It's an honour. Go do it. That's fine. But there's conversations around this Haaland injury.
Yeah. I mean, it's come off the back of Rashford also pulling out with injury as well. I think some other clubs, have all of a sudden lost players due to injury. I did see, City Extra and a couple other YouTube channels around City talking about the Haaland injury, and it does look genuine. It does look that there is a problem there.
No, I think it fully is genuine, by the way, yeah. But sorry, carry on. I didn't mean
so I wouldn't...
Jordan.
So obviously I wouldn't look at it like that and think there's anything mischievous going on. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind my club doing that too. I wouldn't mind my club, having a word with Southgate and saying, listen, you've got our star, protect him, because we've got 10 games to go and we're going for something we haven't got in many, many years now. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't mind that sort of a conversation. Heading into this international break, I actually thought it was friendlies, but I find that it's Euro qualification, so there is a competitive edge there, and I get that. And it's England, Italy first up, I believe. So that is a big game, two big nations coming up against each other. So
can you believe I didn't even realise they were in the same group?
Nor did I.
I'm half Italian, half English.
Nor did I. Because usually usually the big nations don't get another big nation in their qualifying
Italy
group.
have had a knack for getting in groups with Spain and even Switzerland, who are a decent side, they've not had it so easy, actually. But yeah, Italy, England in Group C of UEFA European qualifiers, with Malta, North Macedonia, and listen, Ukraine won't be easy either. And I believe it was North Macedonia that knocked Italy out of the qualifiers to make it to the World Cup, I think. No. Yeah, it was.
Knocked out who?
I think when Italy lost, let me just have a little look here. Italy lost and got knocked out of
by Macedonia.
I think it was. Yeah, North Macedonia knocked them out of the World Cup qualifiers, and then it was Portugal who would have beaten North Macedonia. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. So
because Portugal beat Turkey, you reminded me now.
Sorry. Neither. We were hoping it'd be our two nations.
But on the obsession thing as well, I don't know if obsession is the right word, but when Arsenal were going back to back with United, I was always looking at United's fixtures. I was always looking at when, you know, they got extra added time, Fergie time, or when decisions tended to favour them a lot more than they favoured us, or when they slipped up and dropped points. I think that's part of a rivalry as well. And this is the first season I can say that we have rivaled City. This is the first season since City have had the money that we have rivaled City. And again, I don't think obsession is the right word, but that's also part of football. You need to look at the opposition. Do you think Barcelona are not obsessed with Real Madrid, fans-wise, vice versa, and so on across all of the top leagues?
Yeah.
You know, Man United and Liverpool too. I think there's a certain level of obsession there because that's part of the rivalry.
Well, what am I meant to do if Man City drop points? Go,
yeah,
I'm waving my jumper around.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, brilliant.
I'm waiting for this Man City Liverpool fixture. I'm not shy to say that. I'm waiting for that because I want them to drop points.
Yeah. I mean, we are in a beautiful position of, if we do our job, it doesn't matter what City do. But you know, people need to not just dismiss this as, well, 5 points clear. Well, Arsenal have been really good, so they'll probably get over the line. There is so much stuff that the intangibles you can't measure: nerves, pressure. Look at that goal Palace scored against us. That was just a bit of a nothing goal.
Yeah.
Bounced off a player, put into the back of the net. I didn't look at that and automatically go, he got that wrong, or that was set up badly, or whatever. And maybe, I'm sure the coaches will look into that in a bit more, but goals can come out of nothing.
Yeah.
Sporting, I always say it, over the 2 legs, we probably didn't play at a level that, you know, or near a level that was good enough for what we've set this season. So probably deserved to go out. And Sporting definitely showed some quality, especially in the first leg. But we go through if the guy doesn't put it in from the halfway.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't actually creating that much up to that point. So that's the thing about football, and so trust me, I care what City do. I do. And again, I'll reiterate the point on Erling Haaland. No, not wishing injury, and I really mean that. I'm not sitting there going, yeah, come on, yeah. No, I don't wish injury on anyone. But injuries are part of the game. If they happen, that changes the dynamics for City. That's interesting for us to know. And I tell you what, they're not sympathising over Saliba not playing the last game. They're not sympathising when Jesus missed 3 months of the season. Injuries happen. How do you respond?
Listen, in modern day, people got to watch what they say and you know, be careful and all. And I get it. No one wishes injury on anyone. The fact of the matter is, if he misses games, I'm happy. If he misses the rest of the season, I'm happy. You know, because that's the rivals. That's who we're going for the Premier League title. That's been one of, if not their best player this season. He's a goal machine. When Jesus got injured, a lot of opposition fans were happy about it, even though they had nothing to do with us in terms of competing for the league title.
Yeah, very true.
So I don't give a shit if he's injured.
Enough.
If he's injured, better for us.
Everything I try to avoid saying.
Yeah.
No, but I get it.
But I also get why you're saying it, because then you'll have someone come out on Twitter. Look at what they said. They're wishing injury. How dare they? Disgraceful human beings and all of this nonsense. Listen, if our opposition players are injured, cool, good. I don't care. Obviously, I'm focused on us, but if anything makes them weaker, so be it.
Here we are saying. Also, rumours, as I said, Trossard didn't train with Belgium, so we'll see. Cassid says facts Turkish. Some people saying what Ten Hag said was interesting too. I don't know what they mean by that. Was there something Ten Hag said? I know there was the stuff from last week that...
I don't think he said anything recent, but maybe he's talking about the injury stuff again.
Don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't see that. How many points do you guys think it will take to win the league? Asks Name. Well, someone, who was it on Twitter, who calculated what everyone's maximum points potential is.
Yeah.
Now, maximum points potential, so we can get to 99, Man City to get to 95. So the answer is 96 wins us the title. No, so they can get to 94. So 95 wins us the title.
Okay.
So get there.
Listen, we're both dropping points in the last 10, and I know they got 11 games. We're both going to drop points along the way. It's far from over, and you know, winning every game is highly unlikely. Don't get it twisted. We've done very well to put winning runs together without a shadow of a doubt. I think this is our 4th run of winning 4 or more games this season. City have only had one of those. Unfortunately, it's come now. They're currently in that run. But there's definitely bumps along the way. I mean, as much as I talk about Arsenal's remaining fixtures and talk about those massive away games against Liverpool, City and then Newcastle, I look at Man City's fixture list, and yes, on paper it doesn't read as difficult as our one, but Brighton away, I feel like they can drop points. Fulham away, I feel like they can drop points. Brentford away, their last game of the season, if it goes down to the wire, I feel like they can drop points. So there's difficult games for both teams coming up, and I pretty much guarantee neither us or Manchester City will win the rest of our games.
Yeah, no, I don't think, but I don't think both will win.
I think we've actually we both have another loss in us for sure.
I completely agree. Turkish is right. If Saka is out, no City fan will be crying, says Robbie. Do you know Robbie? Robbie Lyle?
Don't know many Robbies.
He's in the comments, so we have to smarten up and be more professional. The boss is watching. But he's right. He's absolutely right. No one is. It's true, and no one was with Jesus. Speaking of Saka and that right-hand side, let's talk a little bit about Pepe, because there's some rumours that Pepe will be leaving in the summer. Now, see, Rob Holding came in and did really well against Palace, right? With the way the team is playing this year, and I'm not saying I want this, but if Pepe played against Palace, so we had our full first 11, but the front three was Martinelli, Jesus, Pepe. Do you think we'd see a different Pepe?
It's hard to say, because we are such a well-run team in terms of the system being used and the players doing exactly what Mikel Arteta's asking of them. It's easy to say, yes, you'd see an improvement in Pepe's productivity and what Pepe brings to the side. But the reason he's not here is because he wasn't bringing that initially. Whereas some players have managed to show Mikel that they can bring something, and two of them are named Xhaka and Eddie Nketiah, who this season, heading into it, every summer I've said it's time to move on. But they've managed to turn it around and still, give something towards a potential title winning season. With Pepe, he did get chances. Do I believe he got enough chances? I think he got enough chances overall, maybe not enough consistency in those chances. But when you're having the season you're having, I'm not looking back anymore. Yeah, I'm looking forward. And Nicolas Pepe, his time is done. To be honest, I would have thought this summer would have been the end of his contract, but am I mistaken? When did he sign? 2019.
Fact check.
Actually, 2019 5-year contract. It'll be next year. So he'll have one more year left.
I think you're right. I'm struggling to find it, but I do.
I believe it's 5-year contract he signed. He come in 2019, so 1 year to go. You get some value out of him now. I think we knew after the first 6 months we're not getting back anything close to 72 mil.
Well,
let's get 10, 15.
Oh right, yeah, you're right. 2024. Sorry, this said 2023, but that's his Nice contract. Yeah, 2024. And how's he doing? He's on 6 goals in 17 appearances with the 1 assist. With Pepe, right? I actually always thought there was a player there.
So did I.
And even when he left, I thought I could see him going somewhere and it working out for him, because he had runs in the Arsenal team where he looked like it was clicking. I think the end of that really bad season, 2021, when we ended with a 2-0 win against Brighton.
Yeah,
I think
that was his best patch of form.
Did we get knocked out of everything and then win the last 5 games? It was something like that.
When the pressure was off.
Yeah, Pepe was in great form. But, he played really, really well in that kind of end of the season. And what we saw was a player who was doing the kind of things I wanted to, out to in runs, like really terrorising defenders, cutting inside on his left foot, runs at the back post to put it in at the back post as well, goals from distance. He had a little bit of everything. I also think if he were in this squad, even this current squad, he'd be one of the best finishers at the club. He was always very composed in front of goal. Yeah. Could score from distance, was unpredictable, could do something a little bit out of nowhere. So, look, my feeling is with a year left, if you can even get 12, 15 million, you probably do the deal. You take a massive loss, but Arsenal have been doing that on a lot of players recently. Now we've got assets. Now we've got a squad that I think can make us money when we need to rejuvenate and mix things up a little bit. Yeah, I think I can't imagine he goes for very much. But I do quite like him as a player. I just think he was the opposite to what Arteta wants. Arteta doesn't want. I described Martinelli's kind of running style, and the way he plays is quite chaotic, but he follows instructions. He does what he has to do. I think Pepe is more of a free spirit on the pitch. It's let me just sense where I've got to be and what I've got to do, and I'll make it happen. And I just think Arteta wants more control than that.
100% agree with everything you said there. You know, in comparison to Martinelli listens, he adjusts, and he's got a better all-round game for it. With Pepe, it just seemed like he wanted, you know, to be afforded that freedom to be a bit of a wild card. But in modern day systems, with modern day managers, with modern day philosophies, there are no wild cards. The wild card is still someone like, you know, Zinchenko, who is asked for a lot more than your typical fullback. So it's not necessarily a wild card like the number 10 position was, where you can be afforded the freedom not to track back too much, pick up pockets of space when you get the ball, deliver. Football's gone, you know, a long way from that now.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
So you know, none of the big teams in England that have won majors over the years, it's only City and Liverpool, have given a player that freedom, in my honest opinion. They've all had to work hard and adjust in some way, shape or form, and a lot of the players are better for it.
Yeah, I completely and utterly agree. Let's go to some comments. Pepe should go to Southampton. It will suit him. Interesting shout. But I think, with all due respect to Southampton, who I like, I think there will be sort of other clubs interested. I don't know. Basically, I'm trying to say I think he can do better than Southampton, but every now and again, Southampton challenge for the top 10 and whatever. I think he's good enough for a club playing European football somewhere. I think the talent's there. It's not the talent that's missing for me. It's the fit at the club. But as you said, we're moving so far away. The game's evolved so much. How many clubs actually play with that kind of free-spirited, inverted wingers who can kind of drift and stay up the pitch and go where they want? Yeah, I don't know. There were some other ones. XXI Tactical says Pepe was so overrated. But other people said, Ryan says, I'd like to see one more chance for Pepe. Well, I think you'll see him a little bit over pre-season. I can't imagine they'll get whatever exit done quite quickly for him. Pepe doesn't have an understanding of the system, says Roscoe. Pepe is really good, says Eminix. I remember all players were playing bad last season. He deserves to be given a last chance. There was another one.
I wouldn't say all players were playing bad last season, if I'm honest. But
no, I agree with you. Was there another one? The other thing, someone's just mentioned Balogun. I mean, that's another reason why it's going to be even harder for Pepe to get a potential, in this squad, because it's already stacked that front.
Yeah, there's no chance for Pepe, I'll be honest. No chance.
I agree. Dave Jordan says, Arsenal Women FC versus Bayern kickoff at 5:45 for those interested. And United all the way with Super Chat says, it will be so sad if Man City win the league this year, because we're almost becoming like Germany's league, where it looks competitive every year, but Bayern win in the end. 5 of the last 6 for City. Yeah, I do hear that, but I actually think that will start to balance itself out post Guardiola.
I hope so.
Well,
I hope so, because there's no one like Pep left, is there? Obviously, someone else can be the next Pep, or the next successful manager. But after Pep's gone from City, like whoever they get, it's not going to be levels close to Pep. Pep changed football with his philosophy, so I think it will become a lot more competitive.
Football, that's the funny thing. Yeah.
And listen, he's come to different leagues and done exactly the same thing in terms of dominating with his style, with the system he wants. There was a lot of doubts whether he could come into the Premier League and do what he did at Bayern or at Barca, and he literally did just that. It took him a year to acclimatise, and since then, 5 and 6 since then? Mad.
Yeah. 4 and 5, I think. This would be 5.
4 and 5, sorry. Yeah, this would be 5 and 6.
I do have a question for Dave Jordan. Where were you on full time after Tierney's masterclass?
Don't get him started.
Always slagging off poor Kieran. He was brilliant. He was really good.
Listen, he was good. But I'm a fan of Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, I know.
That's exactly what I know he can bring, and I'm glad he got the assist. And you saw Saka have a word in his ear. That means that behind the scenes they're rooting for him as well. I just hope in the last 10 games he can play a bigger part in it if necessary. And at the end of the season, you know, there is no questions about his future because I think we're a better squad with him in it.
Yeah, completely agree. So we've had an MLS fixture confirmed. We said that there were rumours that Arsenal were going to be in the States for a MLS All-Stars game. And it's been confirmed. I believe the details are Washington, 19th of July.
Yep.
So listen, Arsenal going back to the States this summer.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Robbie, if you're still watching.
I'm all for it as well. But they did apparently, Arsenal did face the MLS All-Stars back in, was it 2017? Cecil kept telling me, he said, you've got to see the 11 that went out.
2016, one of them.
Let me have a little look.
Around that time.
Oh, I think I remember. I think Rob Holding made his debut.
No. That can't be Rob Holding's debut.
Remembering the 2016 MLS All-Star game. Here we go. On the Arsenal website.
You might be right, actually. 2016 is 2017.
It is Rob Holding.
Was that his debut?
I might have just plucked one out here. Well, he wasn't in the... I think... Well, we signed him in 2016. 100%.
And that was in 2016, yeah?
Yeah, this is summer 2016.
Okay, so there you go.
The 11 was check and goal. Gel's been doing the rounds on Twitter today.
What?
Someone said, we've come a long way. And it was Arsenal playing out the back against City. And Czech nearly finding the bottom corner.
He nearly done that a couple of times, but that one was a joke.
He nearly laced it, bottom corner.
We've come a long way. We've come a long, long way. Because them times it was always kick it long, and what are you doing? But the thing about it is, when fans were saying that around me at the stadium, I was like, this is what we have to do.
I know.
I understand why you're saying that, but this is what we have to do.
It's so true.
We have to know who can't do that in order to improve on them.
Yeah.
But shit just hit the fan for Emery, and he didn't really get many more chances to improve the side.
And I'm one to credit Unai Emery. I did it on Talking Tactics today on DR Sports. I'm one to credit Emery probably more than most Arsenal fans. I think we absolutely needed to move on when we did. If anything, we maybe left it a little too long. But I thought his first season didn't get enough credit. But the one thing he never, ever improved was our playing out the back. That shit stayed bad. All the way up and from day one, that City game, and Czech nearly playing for City up front, to Watford when Socrates decided to just give it to someone and we dropped 2 points. That was bad. So the 11 in that game, Czech and goal. Guess who came on for him?
What was it, 2016 you said? We sold Chesney then, no? It wouldn't have been Chesney.
Emi Martinez.
Oh yeah, okay.
Emi Martinez, I know. How time flies. Debussy. Debussy, what a weird one.
I know.
I kind of liken him and Cedric to like...
Yeah.
I never disliked either. I thought they were both
decent players.
But we always needed maybe a level above.
Yeah.
But then Debussy had bad injury, didn't he?
Yes.
Holding, Bielik, Gibbs. It's a cracker back four, isn't it? El Neni, Coquelin, Wilshere, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Campbell, Walcott.
Joel Campbell.
Yeah.
And Walcott.
Now, the players that came on, I mentioned Martinez, Bellerin came on, Chambers, Monreal, Zelalem, Xhaka, Iwobi, Ren Adelaide, Willock, Akpom.
Does it say a date that we played them there?
I've just had a little look at the MLS 11, by the way. I'm going to read that out in a sec.
Actually, you know what it is? It's because there would have been a Euros in 2016, so I guess that's why a lot of the main men weren't there. Because I'm just thinking about last season, pre-season, Orlando, what a time, and just a lot of our main players, new signings were there playing.
Yeah.
Why was that one so weak? But it would have been the Euros.
Yeah, Ozil would have been there.
This year, MLS All-Stars and the American fans out there of Arsenal, they should be in for a treat, because we will, July 19th?
Yeah.
We will have our full squad there.
Yeah, very true. Are you ready? Are you ready for the MLS starting 11?
From back then?
Yeah.
They had a I remember they had some top players.
Well, patience for a second. It's Andre Blake in goal, Keegan Rosenberry, Laurent Simon, Gel Van Dam, Kellen Acosta, Andrea Pirlo, Carl Beckerman, Giovanni Dos Santos, Tottenham legend, Kaká, David Villa, Didier Drogba.
Yeah, Drogba, Villa, Pirlo.
Wow. on the bench. Jovinko, wow, of course he played many years there. Clint Dempsey was on the bench as well. There you go.
So who have they got now? Let me have a quick check.
Well, would they have announced the squad by?
Benteke, not quite David Villa, but
Well, have they surely have announced the MLS squad yet, have they?
oh yeah, it's an all-star squad, isn't it?
It's an all-star squad.
I just searched DC United.
No,
But yeah.
they'll do a full. So there you go. Arsenal going back to the United States. I keep hiccuping. United States this summer, and you're right. The American fans are in for an absolute treat, and we were out there in Orlando. It was incredible, from the fan zone at the beginning, the fan park, to everything. You know, the build up, the intensity Arsenal played with. You know, Arteta and the team really wanted to show that they meant business, and beating. You know, it's funny to reflect on that Chelsea 4-0 win now, because I think at the time we all, whether we were doing it consciously or subconsciously, then we all had to drop the "it's only pre-season" line.
Yeah.
But we dominated them. We absolutely blew them away. And I
that was
think,
the start of it all.
Yeah, and I think there was a sense, and especially when we followed that up with the 6-0 against Sevilla, I think there was a sense of, we could actually be quite good this year. So yeah, fair play to the team. It pays to take pre-season seriously. Nichols says, why do right backs play left back, such as Cancelo, Tommy, etc., but left backs don't play right back? Just a Tierney right back shout. I've got a really, really, really dumb theory on this, right? That whether this is true or not, you're left-footed, aren't you? Are you left-footed?
Both,
fine. Congrats.
Knee injury on the right made my left better, so in the end that's what happened. I was right-footed predominantly, but then now I've got that mental, I don't want to injure my right leg.
Really?
My left leg's better now, yeah.
That's really interesting. I'll tell you what, the psychology of injuries, that teaches you a lot. But what was I saying? I think for some reason, when I'm watching football, right footers look more willing to use their left foot to me, but left footers always look like they can strike a ball more purely than a right footer can.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's any science whatsoever to back that up. It is purely
eye test.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that though.
Okay, interesting.
I agree with that.
Have I offended the left footers?
Nah, man, you might have offended someone, but who's not offended by anything nowadays? No, when you see a baller that's left-footed, they tend to have a wand of a left foot. When you see ballers that are right-footed, sometimes they're just ballers not because how magical their right foot is, but because of other things. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But yeah, maybe that is just the eye test and there's not enough statistics behind that. But I just think of, let's say, Robin Van Persie as a left footer, one of the purest strikers of the ball, technically so gifted on his left, but on his right,
did score some bangers on his right.
He did.
But you know what? Actually,
they don't look comfortable.
I said there's no science to it, but are there more? Is the world pretty 50-50 in terms of right and left footers? Because I think in football there are more right than left footers.
Yeah.
It feels to me anyway. So, and when I grew up playing, there were always more right footers than left footers. So I wonder if naturally right footers growing up have to play more left-sided positions, and so get that more exposure to it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Then that, because especially if you even go back 10 years ago, it was more, well, the left footers, you know, your left wing, your right wing, whatever. Now the only kind of area of the pitch where we see managers really try and force it is at centre back, where they go, I want a right footed centre back, a left footed centre back, because they split, whatever. But otherwise you tend to see it mix and match all over the place. But I just wonder whether maybe right footers have had more exposure on the left side of the pitch growing up. I don't know if there's something in that. I don't know.
I'd say when I was growing up, that's definitely the case. And
it was for me too.
And even I remember England went through a period where they were struggling on the left wing in terms of having personnel to pick from, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe that was the right, maybe I'm mistaken. But I think now, because of the way, you know, football's so system based, I think left-footed players have become so much more important. Let's look at the centre backs. Over the years growing up, it tended to always be two right-footed centre backs, or a right-footed and a left-footed, never two left-footed, and you still don't really see two left-footed centre backs. In fact, I remember a couple of years back or last season when I was interested to see Mari and Gabriel together. I was often, rebuffed that they're both left-footed. But when it's two right-footed centre-backs, no one seems to bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but now systems have come in, and you want a left-footed centre-back, you want a right-footed centre-back, you want your right winger to be left-footed, and you want your left winger to be right-footed.
That's true, yeah.
It's changed so much now that I think the importance of left-footed players has grown over the years.
Yeah, very good, very, very good point. United all the way is asking, what's better, 5 Champions Leagues or 5 league titles?
Say that again?
What's better, 5 Champions Leagues or 5 league titles? I guess the question is, what's better?
It depends what you
league or a Champions League.
It depends what you have, though, innit? If you don't have any league titles, then I think I said this on the Big Six, and a lot of opposition fans were laughing. To me, maybe some Arsenal fans were laughing about it. But Chelsea have won Champions Leagues over the years, but in my opinion, they're not comparable to Man United's Champions Leagues, where they're winning the league title with it. I just feel like, or in and around it at least. I feel like if you're finishing 5th and winning the Champions League, or finishing, 1 year Liverpool won the Champions League and they finished below Everton in the league. So on one hand, you can say best in Europe. On the other hand, was you the best in Merseyside that year? Because the Premier League is the 38 games. It's the metric of where you are. So I just feel like this is just a personal opinion. You have to dominate, or at least be the best domestically, in and around your Champions League win as well. Like Liverpool's recent Champions League win, it didn't come the same season they won the league, but it was in and around the league win. So they had a lot of strength behind that argument.
That was unreal.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, if you don't have any league titles and you've got 5 Champions Leagues, don't get me wrong, that's great, because Champions League quality, and it's so difficult to win, as us Arsenal fans know. But for me, the bread and butter is always Premier League.
I think I agree. I think it edges it, the Premier League. That this idea that you, over 38 games, you've conquered the country and come out on top.
Yeah.
And not to disrespect other leagues, but especially when the Premier League is as competitive as it is. Let me put it this way, right? When Chelsea won the Champions League, their second one, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of entertaining the Chelsea might be the biggest club in London now with the second the Champions League. We haven't won in Europe and all that. And, I thought, well, look, they've got an argument here. But two things were started to sway. Well, not two things. One thing started to sway it for me. When we were out in Orlando, and I was sort of looking at the size of Arsenal, I was thinking, oh my word, you just cannot deny the size of this football club. And if Chelsea's up there, fine. But, Arsenal are such an enormous club, institution, whatever it is you want to say. But then it got me thinking, if Arsenal win this Premier League, or a Premier League, now, next year, whatever, I just think, in my head, Arsenal will just still be the bigger club, because, you've won the Premier League and you're back at the top of English football. And I always think to win in Europe, there's an element of luck, probably more so than in the league.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's knockout competition.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. Anything. And you could be the better in both legs, and the referee pulls a clanger out of the bag in the Champions League. Whereas with the Premier League, yes, referees make clangers, but over 38 games, you have to prove you're the best.
When Barcelona won it in 2011, and for me, or 2013, and for me at Wembley, they beat Man United, and that is the best side I've ever seen. The international club football, that is the best team I've ever seen. They were Bentner 1-on-1 away from going out the competition that year.
Yeah. You remember that, and the guy didn't even get a shot off.
10-man Arsenal. That is just that's football, right? And so, fine margins. And I think over a league campaign, a Bentner 1-on-1 doesn't define whether you're going to win a league or not.
Yeah.
But it could have defined a Champions League. And Bayern Munich for many years were unbelievable and didn't quite get over the line with it. So
City over the years.
Well, City's actually the perfect example. You're right. I mean, City, I think, have been the best team in Europe for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They haven't got a single Champions League to show for it. But no one is really using that against them when they say that they're the best in Europe, because I don't think anyone else is putting forward, maybe Real Madrid, but Real Madrid could win it this year. They've just gone 12 points behind Barcelona, got knocked out by Man United.
Yeah.
Funny football, isn't it? Rye says, check your DMs, Twitter from me, James, when you got time. Yeah, oh, sorry, Ryan, we'll get back to that. We will try. And get in touch. Ryan, obviously, we see him often outside the games as well, so we'll make sure we get something organised with the FTV. Rian says, blessed to get to meet some of the lads from AFTV Sunday post game. Ty, unreal in person. Yeah, he really is. Are you coming to DC? We'd love to host you, man. Love for the love.
Come on.
Would absolutely love to be there. All right, let's fly through.
One more. Did you mention the Carlos Vela one?
No.
From Doob. He said,
oh, yes.
You guys remember Carlos Vela? One promising talent I had high hopes for at Arsenal. Looking forward to watching him play against us during the US tour. Love from Niger.
Brilliant. Would Come be great on. To see Carlos
I had high hopes for Vela when we signed him, though.
Yeah.
I had high hopes.
No, I did. Some of the goals he scored.
Yeah. Some of the dinks he had in his locker.
He's the kind of player that would thrive in today's football.
Yeah,
I
actually agree.
False nine, drifting out wide, combination play. Yeah,
I agree.
Good, very good. Yeah. Well, I say very good player. I don't think he ever quite did it for us, but there was talent there for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Adebayor has retired.
So what? So what?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I hear that. Let's have a little look at his career. I'm not gonna lie. He was one of my first heartbreaks, man. When he left Arsenal, you know, he was scoring bags of goals for us, and I think he signed a contract one summer and he thought he was going to stay. Was that the story? I can't quite remember. I was quite young.
Yeah, I remember that 6 months into being a good player for us, he was flirting with AC Milan in the January window, and the flirting didn't stop there. That's why I'm saying so what, because yes, he had great moments for Arsenal in an Arsenal shirt, but
oh no, don't get me wrong, I hold no sort of like love for him as an Arsenal player at all. When he left, that it became the enemy. He went to Man City, scored that goal, and knee slid in front of the Arsenal fans. I don't think it was really an uphill trajectory from there. He had his moments. He went to Real Madrid on loan. I think did okay there, but I don't think he was ever really a regular starter. They had Higuain, I think they had Benzema, Ronaldo scoring goals. And then went to Tottenham on loan, then signed permanently for Tottenham. Always forget that happened. Scored at the Emirates, decided to then high foot Cazorla, get sent off. They lose the game 5-2.
Van Persie in the face as well at one point.
Oh, he might have done.
He stamped, I think, on Van Persie's face out here.
But I guess, look, I'm not here to slander Adebayor too much, but I do want to ask, sort of these players who left, which ones do you remember really hurting? Like
one sticks out for me. Got Bagan.
Oh, let me try Van Persie.
100%.
Van Persie the one that hurt.
That's why you see the me that you've been seeing over the years on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
Before Van Persie signed for United, I was like the majority of people online and the fans, in terms of always hoping, always believing, always fighting for Arsenal in arguments, saying this player's better than that player. And United fans used to make me sick growing up, and those arguments continued even post Invincibles when we wasn't winning anything. But when Van Persie signed for United, I keep on likening it to, again, this might be before your time, but growing up, my favourite rapper was, well, not favourite, but the best rapper in my opinion was Nas. The argument was always Nas or Jay-Z. And then one year Jay-Z signed Nas and brought him out at one of his concerts. And it just felt like, Nas, man, don't do this.
Really?
He just came out with you just signed for the guy that everyone wants to say he's better than you. It just didn't sit well with Van Persie. It felt the same.
Right.
It just felt like it was official. It was official. United are far greater than we was, and that sounds silly saying it now, considering how many titles United have won and all of that stuff. But it hurt me. So I remember I burnt my Van Persie shirt.
Really?
There's only one Van Persie shirt I have remaining, and I had a few. The one I have remaining is one that he signed. I don't know why I've kept hold of it, but because I don't care about it. But that one hurt me so much, James.
Do you understand why he left, or
looking back at the letter? Of course I understand it, because he said similar things to what I've been saying over the years, the club's ambition and caring more about the bottom line and the profit more than caring about winning things and making the club bigger, in turn making more money. It just seemed like the club was doing the bare minimum to make the most out of it. So when I read back the letter even now, I agree with it. When he comes out recently and says he wanted to go to Juventus, but it was Gazidis that maybe pushed him in the United direction because United offered more money. I get it. But at the end of the day, you made the decision, you made the choice, and you went on to win them their last league title and Sir Alex's last league title. I can never forgive him for that. Never. And now you're seeing him do a lot of content for Man United and Man United's channels and all that. And it's good. Like he's nowhere near an Arsenal legend. Okay, in the Emirates era, one of our best players for sure. But a lot of our best players in the Emirates era turned out to be snakes.
But Fabregas sits in a slightly different realm for both of us.
Yeah.
And he did play for Chelsea, and he did help Jose Mourinho, another Wenger enemy, win a title. So why do we feel differently about Cesc?
Okay, with Cesc, yeah. Again, I put myself in his shoes, yeah. And I always say this argument to anyone that, goes against Fabregas and calls him the same level of snake as Van Persie. You can think he's a snake, I get that. He played for Chelsea, won them titles. But if I grow up in North London and, growing up in Arsenal's youth team, years on end we're playing together, we're friends, we're so close, but then Barcelona offer me an opportunity and I go there and I break into the first team. Barcelona are not winning things, but I'm playing games, I'm developing, I'm becoming one of the best young players in the world. Then Arsenal call me and say, yo, we want you to come back. And I look at Arsenal and all of the young friends I was playing with and working with growing up are now part of the first team. That ain't no question for me. So him leaving for Barcelona, it hurt, definitely, because he was, in my opinion, the focal piece of Wenger's next project. It definitely hurt. Seeing Puyol put the Barca shirt on him during that Spain ceremony and all of that pissed me off, but I understood why he went Barca. Now Arsenal put in a clause to say, if you ever want to sell him, give us the first option, which clever. I like. It's clever. That's what you do. Yeah. Because, he
didn't use it.
He was still very young, exactly. And now you hear recently Fabregas coming out and saying, we told them. We didn't hear from them 2 days, 4 days, 6 days. On the 7th day, they called Wenger and said, listen, what's your decision? And Wenger comes out with we've got enough players in these positions, reels off some names and says, I don't want to disrupt what I have. Now, at that point, I don't know who else was in for Fabregas. I just know he wanted to come back to the Premier League. He said it then, he's saying it now.
He said in a recent interview, he had no doubt in his mind that I'm going back to Arsenal.
Yeah.
I don't think he foresaw a world in which they wouldn't want to do that deal. Now, some people understand why Wenger didn't want to, because he put loyalty above. But
don't put the first option clause in there then.
Well, that's true. And also, yeah, Roscoe says here, Wenger was hurt. Here's my thing, okay? With Fabregas, people kind of just say, well, he played for Chelsea. Well, he wore a Barcelona shirt. Well, no, they forced a Barca shirt on him in the celebrations. And look, he's just won the World Cup. I don't think he's sitting there stressing about how this looks for Arsenal. I think he's just, caught up in the moment or whatever. But he wasn't going to give me this, I'll whack it on. And then he went to Barcelona, home. Went home.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal didn't want him.
And he wanted to come back to his second home.
Yeah.
We slammed the door in his face. And if he's coming to the Premier League, he's not coming to play for West Ham or Crystal Palace. It's the big clubs that are going to want him.
Patting the badge and all that at the Emirates, cool, that didn't look great. What, you think he wasn't getting abuse in that game? Look, I'm not saying he dealt with everything perfectly. Apparently, also the way he left Arsenal to force a move to Barca wasn't great. I'm not, condoning it all, but I don't have that venom. And it means, some people say, oh, shut up, when he's doing all this training with Jack Wilshere and talking about Arsenal and all that. I feel differently. I believe he cares about Arsenal and he loves Arsenal. I think he really enjoyed his time at Chelsea as a player, and he won titles and he did the professional thing. I think Arsenal's in his heart. I actually genuinely believe that. Don't think Arsenal's in Van Persie's heart or whatever. The players the players that have always left me like reeling or hurt when they've left are actually the ones that have left and been totally classless after. The Samir Nasri's. I don't think Emi Martinez has handled himself great since he left. Adebayor. They're the ones I'm like, hold on a sec, yeah? Because we didn't buy you as a star. yeah, people might have known about you. Yeah, there might have been hype around you. Nasri, there was hype around Nasri before we signed him. But have some, have a degree of class, have a degree of respect. It became a little bit mocking the fans. That's why with Tottenham fans and everything Conte's been saying recently, Conte is probably factually right in a lot of it. But there's certain stuff that when I see players leave, I'm like, look, you're there now. I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so they're the ones that have left me the most. You look at Leno. Oh, sorry, I say look at Leno. You weren't at the game at Craven Cottage. Arsenal fans were clapping and cheering his name when he came over for the second half. Helps that we were 3-0 up.
Yeah.
but he'd have got that reception anyway. Total and utter respect for Leno. And he had a tough year last year. But whatever. He dealt with it with total class. So I just think, look, I'm not saying footballers should be censored and not talk about the issues they have at clubs and all that. I think there's room for openness and honesty. But some of the rubbish I've heard from players since they've left as well. Some of it has been factually true, but some rubbish has been spoken. I'm like, listen, relax. I don't know who you think you are, but I don't know.
Yeah, even Van Persie continues to speak down on us now, recently saying things like, well, I'm not recently saying that. I mean, Evra's done an interview recently that's come out where he's talking about Van Persie's move and talking about, Van Persie saying how much he can see a difference in the way United apply themselves in training compared to how Arsenal used to apply themselves. And don't get me wrong, he was right. United were winning things back then, the majors. We wasn't. So, and I believe the culture in the dressing room and the standards, were ripped to shreds. That's why I'm onto the Kroenke so much. But it doesn't feel nice hearing it.
No, of course.
Because you went to them.
Yeah.
Man United. I hate Man United.
No, I know you do.
I hate Man United. So that one hurt. That one was when I was like, football. What is football? Because it doesn't feel like what it once was when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But look, we're back here. Standards are up. The bar is raised again. Hopefully we get the Premier League title.
That'd be amazing.
And I can get back to feeling how I used to feel when, Arsenal were doing great things.
Yeah, agreed. We're getting on some of the questions that you've all been sending in via Instagram. If you haven't seen, go follow us on Instagram. We'll be putting up stories if and when we can, and when the show allows for it, asking for your topics, your questions. We're going to fly through some of them now. Just before we do, I've got a super chat from Zubair who says Fabregas recently visited the training ground and was actually happy to see how Arsenal's transforming. He still loves Arsenal. Yeah, and I really enjoyed his bit on Sky where he was talking about the behind the scenes and the things Arteta's put in place. Nothing but respect for all that. Abdullah says RVP was disgusting. We waited on his injuries and made his career. Cess was class, and wasn't he spotted recently with Jack Wilshere in youth training? I forget about the Van Persie injuries, and while the injuries aren't his fault, it's so true. There is a little bit of, hold on, how long we waited for you to be fit, and then I'd be ready. And the minute you actually did get 12 months of regular football under your belt, off you went. But look, that's how it
There's a few more here in the back end that I've got. Ricky says Van Persie and Ashley Cole still have the scars on my back. Yeah, Ashley Cole was another one. Seventh says Emery's major downfall was his girlfriend turned witch.
Emery?
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't heard that.
She inflicted some mad voodoo on that poor man. I never heard about any stories regarding... Well, I don't remember, but there isn't much to remember from his time at Arsenal. Shress as well back in the building. He says, if we miss out on the title due to injuries, Arteta to blame, or should fans be happy with whatever we achieved this season? Can we win the Premier League next season?
Can I answer that quickly?
Yes, you can.
Yes, we can win the Premier League next season. When you're on course for the kind of points tally we're on, it's no one-off, it's no fluke. I really believe Arsenal can be competitive. And that doesn't mean every year getting to 95 points maybe, or every year being 5 points clear of Man City. But I think every year we can be a team to genuinely be feared and be expected to compete for the title for maybe next year. Then sometimes you have a year off, then maybe you come back the year after. I've got hopes for the future of this group and this team. It depends on the players staying. It depends on Arteta staying. Who knows when he's ready for a next challenge. That's all part of it. But on whether we get injuries and then miss out, get injuries and miss out. We got injuries and missed out. I mean, it's no team has won the title riddled with injuries. They just haven't.
Yeah.
No team ever, as far as I can remember, has won it riddled with injuries. So if we get a load of injuries, we miss out. That's just sod's law.
People just like to have a scapegoat all the time, though.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. If you miss out due to injuries, looking at what Arteta's done over the last 3 years that have led to this season, I'm not pointing no fingers at Mikel. I'll be honest with you. I even look at January and think, all right, it didn't look like we got our main targets, but we got our plan Bs in. And that's something I've criticised the club for in the past. It felt like we was going for players just for it to make the headlines. But the reality is we never had any intention of signing a player in that position.
Yeah, it's true. People also realise that Arsenal don't have to hit bad form to not win this league. That's what's crazy. Arsenal can still win of our last 10, 8, lose 1, draw 1. 8 wins, a draw and a defeat is an unreal return from 10 games. But that might not win us the league. That's the madness.
No, that will.
No, because that would be 5 points dropped. City make up those 5.
Oh, so it's goal difference if
Goal
that
difference.
happens.
But obviously there's goal
But that's
difference.
them doing 11 out of 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is highly unlikely.
Go back and look
Famous
at their,
last
their,
words.
their previous results. So here are your questions via Instagram at Marcus Latter. Ask about Saliba's injury, as well as Lucas Deworthy, who asks, that's at Lucas Deworthy, how big an impact could the loss of Saliba be? Look, we will see. I think a couple of weeks, I think he's back for Liverpool. They might not risk it for Leeds.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him against Leeds, but I'd agree with that.
At _Sean_Ruddy_ asks, Katie, stay or go, as does at Jake Chambers 07. Do we sell Kieran Tierney? I'd love him to stay. And Jess at Jacinho, you see on She Knows Arsenal and Football Terrace and stuff. She made a point. Does Tomiyasu have an injury record that is like worth putting your hopes on him being kind of a dependable backup fullback? I know it's really unfortunate the injury picked up, but he's had a few, and we use it against Kieran Tierney. So really, you kind of want both.
He's had a few, but when he has been available for us more often than not, we're pleased.
Oh, really pleased? Yeah, he's fantastic.
And overall, the thing with Kieran Tierney's injuries, they cost us at crucial times.
Yeah, Tomiyasu now.
It's
really unfortunate.
Tomiyasu
like, you see
now,
the way he's spun. It's
but
not
Ben White's our starting right back.
Yeah, I know,
Whereas Tierney's injuries came when he was our starting left back, which is not Tierney's fault. It's not Tomiyasu's fault. But to answer the question, I'll remain with Tomiyasu at least for another season and hope that these injuries are just unfortunate. Look at Partey as well. I mean, Partey, if we gave up on him because of injuries, then we wouldn't have him for this season. And yes, he's been injured a couple of times this season, but I think he started 21 out of the 28 league games, which is it's a fair return. He's on course to get 30.
It's a great point. Really great point. About the title race, at Ben M 123451199. There's a second 9 in there. I nearly didn't say. Man City versus Arsenal run in predicted end points. Look, thank you for the question, but I don't want to be predicting this, that, and the other, because last time I did this, we went on a 3-match winless run.
Yeah, we don't want that.
But at Neb 227 and then a load of 8s says the away games for the title is asking about. Yeah, I mean, you're concerned about Newcastle, Liverpool, and City, as am I, as are most.
Nerves.
Yeah. At just._.omo ask, is Martinelli having an underrated season? And at Raz_Zanuri8 ask the exact same thing. I think he's having a very underrated season.
Yeah, when you see the amount of hype that's been around Rashford recently, and you look at Martinelli's numbers in the league, which is not far off at all, 100% he's having an underrated season, but he doesn't seem to care about it.
No, he doesn't.
And in my honest opinion, I don't give a shit who rates our players or not. I just give a shit about our players delivering what they need to deliver.
Yeah.
If you don't rate Saka, cool, don't rate him. If you don't rate Martinelli, cool, don't rate him. But you know what? If they're doing their thing for us, we rate him.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. At JV Journo asks for the current team of the season. Look, this is one of those things that we'll say names off the fly, and then people will start clipping up going, I can't believe you didn't put this guy in. We're in the final minutes of the show. Just very quickly, some names we're going to shout out for positions. In goal, I think Ramsdale, Alisson. Who else to shout? Maybe Ramsdale, not
Pope.
so much. Pope. Yeah, but he's had a shaky recent. But yeah, Pope.
They got the best defence in the league, so
yeah,
same
Pope,
number of clean sheets as us.
Sure,
as well.
3 names there. Right back, I think Ben White's up there. Trippier.
Yeah, good shot. It's out of them two. I wouldn't even name anyone else.
Centre backs. I put Saliba and Gabriel in the conversation.
Yep.
Lisandro Martinez in the conversation.
Botman.
Maybe Ake, even though he's played more left back. Botman, great shout.
Shaw, you could probably say as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen as much of Newcastle, but obviously you should look at their numbers.
Yeah.
United fans might say Varane, but I don't know if he's. I don't know. I haven't watched quite as much, or maybe Varane.
Listen, maybe, but I think it'd just be there to make the numbers, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Left back.
Zinchenko.
Yeah, I mean, they are also top of the league. Like, you got to. Arsenal players are going to be in a shout for these conversations, these positions. But
Yeah.
Zinchenko, Ake again. Luke Shaw has had a good season for Man United. I don't believe it's been as good as Zinchenko's, is my opinion, but he is more of an all-round fullback and does the up and down, the overlapping, comes inside, defensive work, all that. So credit to Luke Shaw. I feel like I'm maybe being harsh on looking at other areas in the league. I mean, who else is there?
Well, are we still on left back?
Yeah, I just don't know if there are many others.
Again, I think we probably named the main ones already.
This is the kind of thing the comment section always very helpful with. Dan Burn, people are saying. Yeah, okay. Let's go into midfield. I've got Partey ahead of Casemiro on the basis that on pure suspensions, Casemiro has missed 8 of 38 games.
I'd agree.
And then he arrived late. Like, that's a quarter of the Premier League season.
Yeah, and he didn't start for a little while.
Through disciplinary reasons. Whether they're unfair, harsh, whatever, I'll let them debate that. But yeah, it's Partey or Rodri for me.
Yeah.
In that position. Bruno Guimaraes, unbelievable, but I think he could have one of the other midfield positions.
I think so, yeah.
De Bruyne, Ødegaard, take your pick from there. I don't know if I've missed any other players, almost definitely have.
I'd say if we win the league, Partey, Ødegaard and Bruno would probably be the three.
Guimaraes?
Probably.
Okay, interesting.
Even though Xhaka will be in for a shout for that spot as well when you consider his season and if we were to win the league.
Yeah. Front three, you're talking on the left, Rashford, Martinelli. Jack Grealish been really good recently.
Yeah. But I'll still put Rashford, Martinelli ahead.
Yeah, I would too. Haaland obviously up front. Harry Kane's been unbelievable.
Yeah, Tony.
But yeah, Tony's been very, very good.
But Haaland walks that.
Yeah, and then on the right wing, it's Saka. Who else is in that conversation? Is anywhere near?
No one.
Salah's been scoring a lot of goals this season, but when you look at Liverpool overall,
Yeah.
yeah,
Saka's clear.
yeah. All right. Some people. Oh, Matoma, great shout.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Great shout. Palhinha, some people are saying. So thank you guys.
That's a good shout from midfield as well.
These. Really good point. Some said Maddison, but
He's had a good season.
yeah,
He's had a good season, strong
as well. If I've used that against Casemiro's availability, and we use it against Maddison. Farhan says Emmy over Ramsdale. James, let's be honest. Emmy Martinez is a very good goalkeeper, but his World Cup doesn't count when I'm talking about the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, he's been good, but it's not. I don't know. Great save the other day from a free kick, but
he hasn't really set the world alight this season, has he? With Villa.
That's my opinion. But again, I don't watch quite enough to say it with a lot of chest. But yeah, all right. I think that is it for the questions. There was one more at Jack Gibbsy. What signings can take us to the next level next year and help us compete in Europe? Well, you know what? Let's not say players unless you've got players in mind, but positions. What are you thinking? Positions that you think, address them with some top players. We're good.
Number 8.
Yeah.
That's definitely first for me. Number 8 and competition / backup for Saka will be second.
Competition / backup. Yeah.
So 8, a right winger, and if I need to pick another one, I'd say 6. But then with the Jorginho signing and then they signing a new contract, I don't know how serious we would be for going in that position. But I'd still say 8, 6, and a right winger.
So I've got a weird one. Okay, I think an 8 that can play 6. So like if we sign Declan Rice, I so see how he could do Xhaka's current box to box up and down role. But also play really deep if he has to, cover for Partey if he has to. We got Patino coming back, so I actually think I think Smith Rowe will also develop into that area. So I just think we could potentially be really covered. Declan Rice would love. I'm with you on the Saka thing because Nelson's done really great in some cameos, but I think sometimes you've got to be ruthless and say now's the time to say, there's maybe something to be done there. I also think Balogun will sign a new deal and go on loan again. So I think that still leaves you with only 5 players for those 6 positions. So I think, for those 3 positions, 6 in the squad. So yeah, I'd go back in for a Rafinha or a player like that, to basically do what Saka does and allow us to rest Saka far more comfortably when we have to in Premier League games as well. And then this might be a weird one, but I'm going for a more orthodox right back. And what I mean by that is, think a really, really, really good Cedric. And I think what that looks like is someone who can. I mean, Ben White's been unbelievable, but I want to be able to sometimes use his ball playing abilities to rest a Saliba, play White at centre back with Gabriel at times. I thought he was very good at centre back last year, and I think maybe people are forgetting that because of how good he's played at right back. But somebody who can do something a bit different. You've got Zinchenko and Tierney who occupied different roles in that position.
Well, we went for one in January though, isn't it?
Fresneda, there you go. So I think that's on the agenda. So I think those 3 players, and you're good. So what's a Cancelo? A Cancelo's type is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Somebody who could be really creative from right back. Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not those players, they wouldn't come, but that style. Although actually, it's about time we get to the top and start picking off our rivals' best players the way they started doing it to us. But
let's see how it feels.
Yeah, I'm not sure that'll ever be our style, but let's see. All right, we're going to end it there, everyone.
Before you wrap up, let me just get the last super chats.
I've been rubbish at super chats. Thank you.
No, it's all good. Me. Ricky says, James Turkish, who do you hate more, United or Spurs?
For me, it's Tottenham, but I became an Arsenal fan just after the reasons to hate United.
I'll be honest, I hate United more. Partly because we was actually competing with United when I was growing up, and part of going to school and bantering with United fans, that increased the animosity. With Tottenham, I've just tended to laugh at Tottenham. Even over the last 5-6 years when they're finishing above us, that hasn't been funny, but I laugh looking back now that their golden era was finishing above Arsenal for 6 years or 5 years, however long it's been.
Yeah,
Tottenham are just, they're a funny team.
Yeah.
Whereas United were a team that we did once compete with, and we will probably compete with again.
Yeah, I agree.
Abdullah says, I think 90 points will win the league. If City win 9, draw 1 and lose 1, they'll get 89 points. All we'll need is 21 out of 30 points. Come on, you Gunners.
Let's see. We're going to learn a lot. I remember doing all this maths last year. Well, if Tottenham lose here and they do that, then we only need this out of that. And guess what? We lost 3 games in a row to Brighton, Palace and Southampton. So the Premier League game. All right, we're going to leave it there. Really enjoyed this live show. Something a bit different. Flew through a load of topics, but it was good to just go through the news and just give our thoughts on some things. Let us know what you make. Pepe's future, what you make of the Haaland injury, what you make of Adebayor's retirement, and some of the players we discussed there. For everyone asking about Forever Arsenal, that is out tomorrow, so look out for that. Apologies a little bit later, but a little bit more time to stew on our thoughts, have a little think. Obviously, as we aren't playing this weekend, but we will be back for another Forever Arsenal next week, looking ahead at the Leeds game. Which, by the way, I'm not here for, but we'll talk about that later. Cool. So, yeah, big thanks to everyone. Big thank you to Turkish. Always a pleasure. Bro. Hit the like button. Go check out Tactical Insight. Go check out all the other content on the channel. And yes, it's the international break, but no, we're not going anywhere. We will be here with plenty of content this week on AFTV, including Behind the Numbers. We're back for that. Looking forward to that. And in Focus as well. Lots coming. We'll see you very soon.
Love.
Don't forget to check out Bias Premier League show this week. We've got a brilliant show. Of course, Arsenal sitting pretty at the top of the league. And we'll also be finding out who are the big leader of the week. That Boohoo Man with White Yardy and also Ty.
Peace.
You don't want to miss it.